Happy Friday morning. I know that sounds a little strange, but before I begin to lay out a single card, I just want to tell you all, we have had a week of repeated warnings to drop our fear, embrace what we love the most, focus on it, and make something good out of it. Recent controversies on Twitter and the tabletop RPG space have led me to find some amazing people with amazing minds, amazing creativity, and a passion that makes mine look as small as one of these stones. Now, to be fair, their passion was nurtured over many, many years. It was allowed to take root and grow. Mine was not. So I'm at a bit of a disadvantage, but I find that those people whose passions, those old mean grognards, have taken a guy like me who only recently got into it in the last couple of years again, seriously, and said, "Oh, wonderful. Let me tell you everything I love about this." And you know what? It's made me kind of look at some titles and modules that I kind of looked at in the ads on the back of my comic books and went, so looks cool, and just kind of kept going. Now I'm looking at them going, I wonder what's in there. I wonder what I might find. Ooh, that setting has that little something extra. Thanks, Yodano. You are the man. He is the man who knows Dragonlance inside and out. And we had a very interesting conversation about that last night. And he has begun to realize I have my share of trolls as well. So it is what it is. But there it is. The positive result of letting go of the fear and all the negativity. Just, hey, here are some people I like to hang around. Hey, here's some stuff I've never considered. Hey, here's some stuff I'd love to play. That's only one of a million examples. So, I wonder, will we be asked for this weekend to focus on what we love, to really pour ourselves into our passions and ignore all else? Well, I can tell you this, yesterday I pulled a tarot card for High Notes, and it was the High Priestess, which is really focus on doing your own thing. Trust your intuition. Let it lead you where it may. Let's see what we got today. So, as everyone knows, today is Full Scale Friday. This is sort of what a personal reading will look like. We have the Viking Oracle, we have the Spirit Animal Oracle, we have Runes of the Gods, because those are staples in my readings. I happen to love those decks. Those are some of my favorite decks. But we also have a couple decks with a little bit of a loose association. I don't think they've ever been paired together, but we're going to see how they work. We have Radiant Rider-Waite, and we have the Lightworker Oracle. So, get ready. I am focused solely on light energy for this weekend because we've gotten some pretty dark warnings, have we not? And you know what? Those dire warnings, those Cable from X-Force dire warnings from the future, they don't really sit all that well with me. I'm sure they don't sit well with you either. And I really think this weekend we really do need a palate cleanser, man. We really do. So let's see what we got. So I'm laying down Radiant Rider-Waite right now. I'll be laying down the Lightworker Oracle here in just a minute. It was almost Work Your Light Oracle, but I don't know, something about the Lightworker Oracle kind of made me go, you know, Berkano came up last night or yesterday rather, in the runes, and that's all about healing. And I know one thing, healers tend to be light workers, so it's kind of the reason I became a pharmacy tech, to be honest with you. I wanted to aid in healing people, and yeah. Keep in mind, I've had a bunch of different jobs in my time. Oh, I'm sure there are plenty of people who have. Some people have had a bunch of jobs in the same line of work. Not me. I've had different lines of work. Much different. If you look at my job list, you'd be like, wow. Where did you go? You know, all over the place. Worked a lot of retail, that's for sure. I recommend it. Especially for the younger folk, I do recommend it. Because it does teach you some things. Especially if it's working retail right where you live. You'll learn a lot about your own community. It's true. Alright, let's get down to it. So, starting off. Are we finally seeing an end to the paranoia, the fear, the guilt, the shame, and all that negativity? Are we seeing the end of it finally? That's my question. That's a question you can focus on. Because of it, as much as Ragnarok signifies an end, the end of one thing is always the beginning of another, isn't it? I've seen people lose a job that they've been at for, several years, only for a better job to come along. And they were freaking out about that job that they lost. And who could blame them? There's a lot on the line, right? So just because you lost one thing doesn't mean you won't gain another. How are you being guided? The halls. The halls of Sessrumnir and Valhall. So, let's go with a little bit of lore here. What do those two halls signify? Well, let's take wargaming, for example. Actually, let's just take war, for example. Two armies go out, they're killing each other. There's a whole bunch of dead on the battlefield. And then Freya rides in, and she selects the ones that she wants. They go to her hall in Sessrumnir. They are selected first. Then Odin comes in and selects whom he wants. And they go to Valhall to be among the Einherjar. We are celebrating Memorial Day pretty soon. And Memorial Day is a day where we remember those who have fallen in battle. So that's something else to keep in mind. It's not Veterans Day, but that'll be coming soon enough, I imagine. Alright, so let's see what spirit animal we're drawing here. Cow spirit. Cow spirit is an endless stream of miracles. So, we talked about Vice last reading. There was a lot of that going around. Are we kind of addicted to the drama? I don't want to hear it, but I kind of do. Did we finally just let go of that? Just as an aside, by the way, if you find yourself with someone, egging on the crowd around them to come after you or someone else, you need to report that. That's targeted harassment, and it's still against the rules on many social media sites, many of them. It's best to get screenshots of everything. Build your case. Don't go after them in return. Just report them. Get your screenshots, report, block, move on. Okay? Keeps you out of the drama. reduces the drama to a bare minimum. That way you can focus on what you love most. So let's see what's going on in the mind here for this weekend. We got a Ten of Cups, upright no less. We have a Two of Wands in reverse, and we have a Ten of Swords. Okay, so let's go with this Ten of Cups. Spending time with those you love and care about. That's what this card is. It's enjoying that abundance, enjoying that wealth. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You want a wealth of something? I'll give it to you. Did you know that there is a wealth of videos on YouTube that will teach you how to craft just about anything? It's true. It's how I made my dungeon tiles. It's how I learned how to paint figurines, those little miniatures. It's how I learned how to do that. I'd watch those YouTube videos, and then I would formulate a little plan and do it to the best of my ability. You're not going to get it right on the first try, but that's the fun of it. Especially if you're doing it with someone else. Doing it with someone else, guess what? When you're done with the initial creation, you're like, wow, can't believe we did that. But I can tell you one thing. Family that plays together, they stay together. And they do it pretty well. So, this Two of Wands here. I know this looks like a lot of, like when it's upright, it's all about having that choice. You're all about having the world in your hands. But this one is a little different. Just because it's in reverse does not mean it's a bad thing. In this case, having this card in reverse is even better than before. Because this is surprise, wonder, and enchantment. So what's surprising you right now? What's giving you that sense of wonder? Because in my opinion, that's exactly where you need to focus. Because that particular thing will be the one thing that gives you all kinds of reward and benefit. Now, seems to be some fear here. This is that card, you know what I call it, the Who Did You Piss Off Rasputin card. If you're still having a sense of betrayal, let me tell you a little something about betrayal. This might set your mind at ease. That friend and their friends who are putting those swords in your back, they were never your friends. Ever. For any reason. That sense of betrayal, it doesn't come from your sense of wonder and enchantment. Not at all. Sorry. What it comes from is people who accepted you only on a condition. And let me tell you, their purity tests, they are called purity tests for a reason. You are not to be tainted in any way. And if you are, they hyper-focus on it so much that all the good you have ever did, you could have done this one little corner thing wrong. It was a mistake, and that is all they will see. Everything else you've ever done for anyone at any time, ever, will go unrewarded. Because this is all they see, that little corner. They're not your friends, ladies and gentlemen. So, moving to the physical. Three of Swords in reverse. Seven of Pentacles. Two of Cups. Looking good so far. Getting away from all that's killing you, yeah, that's a great thing. this card is now bringing you joy. So you start from here, you move into the Seven of Pentacles. This is where you're kind of looking at the hard work going, is it worth it though? And I've seen people like this lately. They're just kind of looking at all that they've done and all that they will, this is all that they've ever done, it's all they've ever known, and they're like, but is it really worth all this? God, this is so tiring. Don't worry, because the fruits of your labor are only beginning to spring out. They're only beginning to bloom. They're only beginning to blossom. Things are moving forward. But what you got to do is you got to find those partnerships. Those partnerships of people that will just instantly connect. Remember, people, we are coming off of an eclipse, and that eclipse has really messed around with some of our energies. It's shown some uglier sides to us, myself included. But now we get to move out of that. You have the light of the moon. That thing moves in front of it and darkens it. It dims it. And then it moves away, and now we're moving away back into the light of the moon. See what I'm saying? It's like that. Let's move into the spiritual here. Well, we got a Five of Swords in reverse. Nine of Pentacles, that's a great one. And the Fool. If you're losing mastery over your skill, if you're just kind of faltering right now, that's okay. It happens. You're a human being. You're no machine. Even machines break down. It's true. Happens all the time. Because that Nine of Pentacles, you actually have a lot more than you think you do. You have more resources than you know. And it's time to take stock and look at those. Remember, over the last few days we've talked about meditation, really kind of looking inward a little bit. We haven't had that Hermit card moment yet. Some of you probably have taken that Hermit card moment to really kind of take stock of what you have. If you haven't done that, now is a good time to do it. Today. Not just this weekend, today. Because what comes next is an entirely new adventure. One that you can approach with that sense of wonder, that sense of enchantment, that sense of excitement. So we're really pointing from here at that Two of Wands. From here, the Five of Swords, we're pointing at the 10. And this 9, we're pointing at the 7, we're pointing at the 2 of Cups, and we're pointing at that 10 of Cups as well. Also, linking with that 3 of Swords. It's starting to look like a big old Kabbalah tree of life here. Right? Okay, so, Lightworkers Oracle, what do we need to know there? Star Child, Wisdom of the Divine Feminine, and finally, Family of Light. Well, if those three don't look like something nurturing, I don't know what does. Right? Remember when I said we really need to focus on what it is that we love the most. Because here's the thing. We'll pull this one for just a second here. And I know this seems like a lot of floaty nonsense, but take my word for it, it works. The light of the stars exists inside of you. Now the earth wants you to share that light with humanity. So you're being asked to understand that you're meant to be here, that you have spiritual work to accomplish. Give up the idea that you belong somewhere else or that you don't fit in. Instead, let the starlight of your inner being shine here on earth, where it shall make such a positive difference in the world. Fall in love with the beauty. She can and will support you in all ways. Right? Oh, I don't belong here. Bullshit. But now here's the thing. With the wisdom of the divine feminine, the problem is our plans. Because this is where we need to grow into what we love the most. This is where we really kind of need to let go of the plans. You know the old saying, the best laid plans of mice and men. The gods laugh at your plans. Nature laughs at your plans. Oh, you were planning on a barbecue this Friday. Here comes a hurricane. Right? We could cite many examples of that, but it happens to be true. But really, you got to let go of those plans and instead allow life to just guide and nourish you through your experiences each day. You know, you're supported by your own divine destiny, and it's helping you become all you are meant to be. So far, it looks like we're on the right path, doesn't it? Looks like we're finally letting go. We're moving back into it. We're really kind of getting back to what we know. Let's have a look at this. Right there, family of light. The limits that much of humanity place upon their love, that they will love their own family, country, religion, or community better than they love those on the outside. Don't restrain. Don't do it. You're capable of loving humanity, of loving all creation on earth as an extended spiritual family. You will love all as your own. You're meant to belong to a broader family of light. Now, if you ask me, this looks like the rearing of a child to me. You'll love that kid. You'll do anything for that kid. You will go to absolute war for that kid. But sooner or later, your kid's going to have to stand on their own too. They're going to have to make their own decisions. And they need to be very good decisions. Now think of yourself as that child for just a minute. What decisions do you need to make in order to make good on a possible outcome? It can't be wrapped in drama, ladies and gentlemen. It just can't be. So, concluding this thing with the runes, we have Ingvaz, Perthro, and I'll be damned, Isa. This one is all about unity. I'll tell you what I did to foster some unity. And if you're in the tabletop RPG space, which is one of the things that matter to me, this is what I did. I have a pinned thread on my Twitter. You can just go right to my profile. It's going to be the first thing you see. You just go there and you read it. It's not very long. Here's the strategy. We know that there are people who are in that space, who are not really in that space. They don't care about it. They don't care about the games either. They just want to be political. Everything must be political. You know that. I know that. That's how it is. They don't give a damn about the games. They don't give a damn about any of that. And if you refuse to join them, you are nothing more than X. Okay. So I have a new policy. Every time one of them complains or starts being nasty or rude or thoughtless or they make assumptions, I buy an RPG from someone who doesn't do that. So it seems Wizards of the Coast has this thing going on where now they're getting rather political with it too, because if you purchase any of their older games, they're like, oh well, these games may have reflected prejudices and bigotry, and we don't support that anymore. That's not who we are now. We continue to fight this kind of thing every day. What they're gonna profit off of it, best believe. So every time someone comes in about, they're mad at us for playing these older school games, I either buy an old school game or I purchase one from an independent creator whom I think does good work. And I've recommended a few right out the gate. You know what? You could do the same. if you're into that. And so I say, rather than just me doing it, why don't we all do it? Vote with our wallets. Watch what happens. You know, I cannot remember the guy's name, but I did watch a video recently where he was like, it's time to put down those old school games. It's time to return to 5th edition D&D because it's in crisis. And you have a responsibility. You're the one sitting in a Starbucks, comfortable, drinking a latte. Put those down and just come back. He started the whole video out by saying he wanted to be respectful. He was condescending throughout the whole thing. I don't remember his name, I'm not going to look him up. Anyway. Your intuition is right here in the dice cup. That's what power throw is. I mean, look at it. Put your dice in it, you shake it up, you know, throw them. You need to start trusting your intuition a lot more. Now, how do you do that? It's very simple. Here's the end result right here. Meditation, reflection, and then you overcome it. You overcome those barriers. You learn to melt and break that ice. When you focus on what you love, the miracles just start flowing, ladies and gentlemen. When you get away from what's really killing you and what's bringing you down, what's depressing you, and what's causing you to be mean and nasty, rude and ugly, hey, guess what? Life instantly becomes a little better, at least for you. And that's all I want. I just want life to become better for you. Think of this. I get roughly about maybe 100 people watching per video, if that. But if 100 of you are willing to change things for yourself, even though it's just a very small speck of people in the space, in our space of humanity, doesn't it mean more than about 10 or 15 that are just nasty constantly? That's what I want you to think about this weekend. Just some food for thought. Really nurture those things because they're serving you. They're giving you something. Go with it. It's going to be fun. I guarantee it. We've been getting warning signs throughout the week. There have been no real warning signs here. None that have really made a difference. Now we're getting the signs of a smoother path. Question is, are you going to follow it? And that's up to you. So I want you to remember a few things. Number one, I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. Always do what lights you up. And as always, my friends, family, neighbors, tribe, fellow tabletop role players, shine on. So I'm going to take the photo and I'm going to clean up a little bit, and I really wanted to come back and just say, oops, got the camera facing forward on me. It's because I keep doing those high notes videos, I forget to, turn it back. There we go. I'll send that over to the computer, and done. I would say it's when you find yourself beset by trolls, it really does help if you just block them. That much is true. If it's just like one or two, just block them and move on. Try not to engage them. Don't feed the trolls. Put them squarely back under the bridge from whence they came. But if you find that there's an army of trolls gathering, trying to summon up the forces to come up against you, yeah, report them. Cut off their ability to do so. You're going to be a lot better off. Hang with your friends. You know? Get a lot closer to them. Actively encourage them. Build those little circles. The rewards from that are greater than you know. And if nothing else, take a few days away from it all. Just unplug. You'd be surprised at, you know, at what it'll do for the mind. Alright, here we go. Yeah, I'm very particular about how I do this. Sue me. Yeah, I was recently labeled an alt-right account on Twitter. Which I have to laugh at that one because that was very, very traumatic, I thought. Anyway, just on to some other things though. Just, you know, block them, get them off your feed. I'll be honest, I've had some accounts block me, and I'm good with it. Those are not people cut from my cloth, I can tell you that. The bad part is, though, some of them do produce games. Some of them actually produce, you know, pretty decent games. The only problem is they're selecting their customer base, and then they're begging for money on the internet. It's almost as though that doesn't work. Something else to think about. But anyway, I'll see you on high notes. I think I might do Lightworkers Oracle for that one. Anyway, love you guys. Take care. See you on the channel. See you on high notes. I'll see you this weekend if you're around. Love you. Take care.